Welcome to Volume 11 Rock Talk Podcast, brought to you by Volume 11 Music. Your hosts, Rich Hoffa, Rick Lawhorn, and Mark Dunn. Rock Talk, Volume 11 Music.
Hey, welcome to Rock Talk at Volume 11 Music in Fredericksburg, Virginia. My name's Rich.
Rick Lawhorn.
Mark Dunn.
Hey, so we're going to continue from last week. We were talking about 70s bands.
The 70s.
East
era.
Coast versus the West Coast.
West Coast, yeah.
And we're going to bring this conversation into the 80s.
80s, yeah.
And talk about East versus West in the 80s, what bands came out, different genres that came out. What the heck episode is this?
50. This is officially our 50th. Yes.
You sure it's not 51?
Nope. 49 was our last one in the
Okay.
70s, and this is 50.
Okay.
Keep
all
it
right.
track.
50.
So this is officially our 50. We haven't been canceled yet.
That's
so
right. Well, we'll
glad to
keep
keep
going.
them all
Say hello to our viewers in the 50th state.
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Yeah,
Aloha.
sweet. Aloha. That's right. That's right. So, all right, guys, we're going to talk about stuff that came out in the 80s. We'll hit the East Coast first.
East Coast.
So we had, you had a couple of different genres breaking loose.
Mm-hmm.
In the East. So you had your hard rock glam metal.
Oh, the East Coast? Like, oh, yeah.
East
There's
Coast.
a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, you have Bon Jovi, and of course,
Yeah.
Twisted Sister.
I mean, would you consider Twisted Sister and their glam is more, is that glam?
That's pretty glam.
So what would you call Bon Jovi besides a pretty boy? Because they weren't.
Well, I don't
They
know.
weren't wearing
To be
makeup and
honest
stuff
with you,
like
I don't
that.
know. They weren't as glamorous as Twisted, as far as their get-ups and. I mean, Twisted Sister would look like.
That's costumes.
Yeah.
Costumes.
Yeah. And,
Would that be an extension of the New York Dolls?
I think so.
I think so.
we
I think
talked
so.
about
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the 70s.
It's kabuki makeup.
Right.
You know, it's more of a Dolls meets Kiss kind of thing.
Right.
Oh,
now
yeah,
we're into
yeah.
the 80s, early 80s,
Yeah.
and they're getting ready to, of course, take off really big. And
Yeah.
So Twisted Sister.
Twisted Sister, Skid Row,
Skid Row, yeah.
Cinderella.
Cinderella, Philly
Yeah,
band.
yeah, they're
right?
great. They're great.
And the thing about Cinderella, I mean, when you hear their sound, it's hard driving bluesy rock.
Yeah.
But when you saw the videos, it was more like commercial, glammy.
Didn't Bon Jovi own
yeah.
part of that?
Yeah, Bon Jovi
And
does.
Skid
And Skid
Row.
Row. He got
Yeah.
a lot of the
Got him
money
going.
off that. I
Got
think,
him
from what I
going and
understand.
made an extra few bucks from them too.
Quite a few bucks, from
But,
what I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had your alternative college rock,
Yeah.
REM.
Out of Georgia.
Yeah, that was a little tough for me to swallow, but I started to appreciate it a little.
Yeah.
Guys like me and Rick and you that
Yeah.
were learning drums and technical things. And by the way, this is not me slamming anything about those bands, but the punk, I think that was kind of a more refined version of the punk bands.
Right.
Okay.
Peter Buck and REM can play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a shredder. Bill
Right.
Berry was, and Mike Mills. I mean, it was kind of like the perfect combination of overt simplicity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well said.
But it was still raw.
Well, yeah, that's right. No, I mean, those are great comments.
Sometimes
but
they
I'm-
were out of tune.
Yeah, right.
And so, but I mean, there's charm in that, and so that was difficult for me to get into. But like I said in another episode regarding this, the girls were too pretty for me to not like the music.
That's right. That's right.
Another band out of Georgia too, the B-52s.
Right.
Out of
Yeah.
Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so this is not 70s Southern rock out of Georgia.
No.
This is like a whole new thing going on.
Counterculture.
Yeah.
I mean, that section of Georgia. I lived in Atlanta, and of course, Athens is a good hour away. But it's an art area.
Yeah,
it's
right.
really interesting. It's a lot of that culture, just artistic culture in the region, not just in Atlanta or in Athens. So I haven't gone down there after that scene exploded for that. I started to get it. I'm like, okay, it's everywhere now.
Yeah, it's a different vibe than, like I said, 70s, Southern rock.
Yeah, and then you had
out of Georgia. So
the
it's got all that.
Pixies
Yeah,
out
the
of
Pixies,
Boston,
that's
Mass.
right. The Pixies.
Talking Heads.
And Pixies are like the overall favorite of that era. And
Right.
that genre.
Yeah, a lot of people
They seem
really
to be
respect
like the
them.
Garden of Eden of that.
Of like
Right.
the alternative,
Yeah.
kind of taking it towards grunge,
Yeah.
movement.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you had Talking Heads, Sonic Youth. They Might Be Giants. Never heard of them.
Oh, they're great.
Dinosaur
Don't
Jr.
let's start. No,
Right, I
no,
remember,
don't let's
yeah.
start.
Yeah. And then I didn't even realize this, but the hardcore punk stuff coming out of Washington.
Right. A lot of Dave Grohl is definitely, into all the...
Minor Threat, Bad
Minor Threat,
Brains,
Fugazi, that's right.
Yeah.
A lot of big DC movement.
Wasn't Bad Brains out of DC?
Bad Brains, yeah.
And then you had, what's that, Agnostic Front out of New York, Beastie Boys out of New York.
I don't know that I've ever heard one Agnostic Front song, but I've seen the name.
Yeah. And then you had Anthrax coming out of New York, New York City, and Stray Cats.
Yeah, Stray Cat.
Fish started in the 80s?
Yeah.
They did.
1983.
That is correct. Yeah, they go way
University of Vermont.
Huh.
So
that's interesting. So they were at it for a while when they blew up.
Yeah, before they really took off.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Spin Doctors? Well, that's 90s. Sorry.
Yeah. But it's kind of interesting how that. I didn't look up Southern 80s bands. I probably should have, because
Georgia Satellites
were coming out. So the Southern rock thing was starting to evolve a little bit. Yeah.
There's a couple of ones that are out of Georgia and Florida in the 80s, and I'm drawing a blank on them right
now. And I'm going to say the Black Crowes at the tail end, even though their album didn't come out until
88?
Yeah.
88 for
Black
that
Crowes.
first one. Let's see. No, that's also, I'm thinking of Marvelous 3, but that's also the 90s.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them, and maybe by the end of this,
remember them. But it's kind of interesting how things started to go, as far as like you could start seeing the influence. But it was a little bit more of a mixture than, this area, this area, this area type of thing, which is kind of neat.
And we have Kicks, of course.
Yeah, right? Kicks. They came out in the 80s. And of course, it's, we talk about
Extreme
that
came out in the 80s.
Extreme, from
they
Boston.
sure did.
With
Extreme.
Great Nino Bettencourt on guitar.
Oh, yeah, fantastic.
Right. But they were a Boston band.
Yeah.
So,
And then, of course, we had the whole, Sunset Strip,
the California side of it, West Coast.
Yeah.
So before we even go on any further, I would like to proffer that the 80s East Coast bands were stridently variant compared to the 80s LA
what was
bands.
coming out of LA, band after band after band after band
until
after band.
Guns N' Roses.
Until GNR, We did get a lot of carbon copy bands out of it. It's an understatement, but
Well,
do they have
especially,
hair?
You got hair? You got a record deal.
especially towards the late 80s. I mean, stuff that was coming out of LA was just...
they jumped the shark hard.
It was crazy.
And I'm not trying to be funny here, but I can remember back when they had rock magazines like Circus and Cream.
Rip magazine.
And we would go to the little bookstore, like Walden's Books, and they'd have the brand new Circus in 1987. You're looking over, and every month they'd have like 8 new bands out of LA, and it's like they all pretty much looked the same and sounded.
One
you couldn't really tell them apart.
Gone,
and then one and done's, I call them.
But I watched some of those documentaries and stuff. I was like, gosh, man, I don't remember who the heck was that, but
there's an account on Instagram, I think it's called Lord Rare Rock or something, and whoever it is, they put up like 10 video snippets, so it's a good 5-minute reel of different videos, all sorts of genres, and they put up a bunch of 80s hair metal bands, like 10 of them, video snippets of their song. I didn't know any of them.
It's like,
any of them.
Right.
I'm like, when was that?
Right.
This is hilarious. I feel like Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, what the hell? That's crap.
Yeah, it's like, but it was.
What are they?
So so you had the big ones, Motley Crue,
obviously,
Guns N' Roses,
Dokken,
but
Rat.
Guns N' Roses though is a new era. I know we're talking about general.
Yeah, they are. They are, because they came out. And I remember. Great story. I mean, go to the record store and I got Faster Pussycat, and a friend of mine got Guns N' Roses on the same. They really, I think they released on the same day.
They were. I remember that.
And
we know who won that battle.
I think.
But it was great. I mean, I remember, just a whole group of friends, and it was like one cassette after the other. We'd listen to Guns N' Roses, put Faster Pussycat. Guns N' Roses, Faster Pussycat. It was because let's face it, they were two different bands, but they were both great albums.
Appetite for Destruction took a couple of years though
to really take off.
It almost like it's almost like it wasn't even in stores on the East Coast for a year in. which I found interesting.
Yeah.
But and that's only in retrospect I see that, because you don't know what you don't have if you don't know.
Yeah, right.
So,
right.
but I remember that being in fact, it was Bruce Crump from Molly Hatchet that told me you need to look out for this band called Guns N' Roses, and he had heard them.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Guns N' Roses?
Yeah.
And I heard them. I'm like, that's different.
But it did take a while for them to really break. I mean, super big.
Yeah.
Big time. But you know, as a guitar player, learning everything that was fast and with a whammy bar, I took notice of that first video of Slash playing a Les Paul and Izzy playing a Telly or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's different. When in actuality, it's just Aerosmith.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like some Aerosmith, a little bit of the Stones.
Yeah.
Right,
It's 72 era Stones. If
Right.
you go back to that era, you had Mick on the singing and Mick Taylor on a Les Paul and Keith banging on a Telly for some songs.
But they truly were divergent from the formula that had been going.
The hair glam rock that was really,
And they have Poison down here, but Poison was an East Coast.
They were from Pennsylvania.
They're from Pennsylvania, so more east.
But they road dogged it out there.
They moved out there, yeah.
So my question is was the makeup on before they left Pennsylvania, or was it on after?
Well, they did a lot of opening for Kix, and so.
So did they wear the makeup?
Well, Kix wasn't really a makeup band,
No.
Right, but
You
did
know, but-
Poison wear the makeup?
I don't know. I don't know. But they opened up for Kix a lot. And you could tell that by their stage show and stuff.
Right, a lot of kick-centric
kick
things,
stuff, yeah. But I don't know. I think that'd be something interesting to research to see if we can see some pictures of them playing in the.
I never
in
have.
the East.
I mean, I never
don't
have
think
seen
I ever have
anything
either.
until they went out west and made it big out west.
Yeah,
coast.
so there might not be much on them. Maybe we can find some, because they were James Turner Productions, right?
I'm not sure who was booking. I mean, I know they were out of.
They were booking somebody.
I don't
in the
really
East.
know who the booking agency was.
All right.
I do know that they opened for Kix, like you said.
Yeah.
And they did play a lot up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I don't know what to.
I talked to Chip today. I have to ask him.
do some research on that, find out, and then of course Quiet Riot, and they were on fire when they first,
Well, it's
Mental Health
essentially, an Ozzy. Well, I mean, Rudy Sarzo left Ozzy. Carlos Cavazo, is like that whole Ozzy kind of Ozzy adjacent band.
right,
And Kevin DuBrow was a banging singer.
yeah,
Like he could have. I mean, I'm surprised that it took them a while to get signed.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and then you had your thrash metal bands, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, all came out in the early '80s.
Metallica's the grandpa of that though,
Yeah.
and they scooted LA.
Well,
with the
what's
same
interesting,
band.
both Metallica and Slayer came out in '81.
Yeah, but I
What's
mean,
But-
and
oh,
nothing
I
is-
know.
They're still two different sounding bands.
Exactly, yeah.
But the Metallica, I remember seeing the patches on the jean jackets. I guess.
Oh,
around
yeah.
the same time.
Something
Yeah.
like that,
But I knew who Metallica was. I didn't know who
Yeah.
Slayer was.
But it's kind of interesting too. Like the next segment's alternative punk, but punk really, that's a East Coast thing, and then it kind of drifted,
It's a British thing.
to the
originally British originally,
We haven't
yeah.
got into the British stuff yet. We'll get into
Yeah, be right.
get into that here pretty soon. But yeah. So I mean, it was, I guess it came across from Britain,
Yeah.
landed in New York City,
And then came
and then
across.
kind of came across the next 10 years, and you've got
California had a heavy.
Yeah.
long scene.
There was a time when record labels thought that the biggest things out there were punk and disco.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
Even like when you
And,
look at
yeah.
Kix's first record, Cool Kids, that was trying to get them to hit rockish disco type of thing, because if you
Yeah.
listen to a lot of them songs on that, there's
Yep.
some great songs on there, but there are some disco-ish.
Yeah,
type
it's
of
not as
songs on
straight,
there.
hard driving
No,
rock
it's not.
as some of the later albums that follow, like Midnight Dynamite
Right.
and Blow My Fuse, which
Is
is
it as
just,
bad like in Jane from Jefferson Starship, which is just a monster rock song until you get to that disco bridge?
That's the disco
Yeah.
bridge.
It is a disco.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right, because the beginning it's hard
It's
driving.
just a kick-ass
Just
rock
rock
song.
and
And I was
roll,
like, all these nights we spent together. What just happened?
Yeah, now we got right. Yeah.
That's it. So yeah, Chili Peppers, Jane's Addiction, Bad Religion. Let's see who else we
That's
got
that
here.
late '80s
Social
alternative rock,
Distortion.
punk rock
Yeah,
out of
those
California.
postmodern punk bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had the Go-Go's and Huey Lewis.
Huey Lewis was great.
Yeah.
Saw him.
Oh yeah, Go-Go's were great.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
I've said, I like all kinds of music, so it's not always just hard rock and flashy guitar solos, which I
exactly.
love, but I like just fun,
Yeah.
cool songs, you know, and by bands.
And I think that there was way more at that point where, like last week's episode, we were talking about New York, East Coast, and then West Coast in general. Mm-hmm. And I was mentioning how there's a lot of solo artists being produced. It seemed out of L.A.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And obviously, we're all little kids during that time. This
Right,
is just
we
my
were very
recollection
young
based on
back
my
then.
brother's record collection.
Right.
But I think it'd be hard to argue that by this time, L.A. was churning out, West Coast was churning out bands
Yeah.
at probably 2, if not 3 to 1 compared to the East Coast.
Yeah.
And for East Coast, that's where you had to go.
Right.
There was not an organic kind of a thing here. You know?
Yeah,
So-
that's a good point because my memories, thinking back on it, like in the late '80s, it was like, oh, I know so and so, and they're going to move to LA. They're going to LA. You didn't hear as much moving to New York at that point for like a hard rock, not in the late '80s, like you did with the California scene and going to LA.
Well, everybody was moving to
New York
California.
really never at all bit into that rock thing.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you go around New York City with, you know, a Marshall stack in a cab?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not being funny.
No,
but it's funny.
it's funny, but you make a good point.
I mean, you had, you know, and it's funny because they had sound stages in New York City for rehearsal, SIR studios and things like that. But CBGB's was a de facto showcase room, but you didn't have bands
right.
in New York like you did LA.
LA,
Right.
yeah.
Just, I think just by virtue of the difference in the type of city. they
Well,
were.
you look at the venues they had in California. I mean,
Right.
you know, the Whiskey and the Rainbow Room,
and it's spread
all
out.
those places.
It's spread out.
Yeah.
You had 18 friends to help you with your rig.
Oh
Instead of,
yeah.
you know, but Boston would probably be more of a band rock and roll town in the 80s than even New York City would.
Yeah.
You know, like organic bands coming out of
Right,
Boston.
right. Yeah, well put.
Yeah. But it's interesting how the flow of you know, like we were talking before, you know, you got your areas, but then you know, as you know, years go on, the influences start to flow cross country and things like that. So, but man, what a great list of bands coming out of the 70s.
I will say this: in the mid '80s, it didn't seem to me that the record companies were looking for the southern rock thing like they were in the '70s. Like when you had Skinner and the Outlaws and all that, there wasn't really. It's like if you're gonna go that way, just go and be country. You know, that's what it seemed like.
People started dissing Leonard Skinner by then with the whole Freebird. That's when people started yelling
the
Freebird.
Freebird, right.
Billy Idol came out of New York, by the way, even though he came from the British. But he was a signed act out of New York.
Yeah.
Steve Stevens, they did that record in New York.
Yeah. And he had that what some people call like the New York art rock kind of stuff, like Lou Reed, and you know where it's that you know
Till Tuesday.
kind of-
Yeah, but I think back then too. I mean, you had. I mean, as far as like you know the rock with Motley Crue and Twisted Sister and all Bon Jovi and all that stuff, you had so much MTV pushing on that, and then all the magazines like we're talking about. There were so many magazines out for rock and that type of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
And but you're right. It seemed like you know after the '70s, early '80s, the you know 38 specials and the Leonard Skinners and stuff like that, kind of and ZZ Top just kept going through. You know
what though?
But they changed a little bit.
They did change.
They changed a lot.
The
Eliminator was
synthesizers and you know drum
Different
machines.
They did. So from what they came out in the '70s, they did change during that time because, I mean, you know,
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
That's that Texas thing we were talking about in the last episode.
So I think I think that and that was something too because Stevie Ray Vaughan was you know Texas blues. So you know I think the Texas thing kind of stuck.
The Fabulous Thunderbird, his brother, you know, Jimmy.
I would
Vaughan,
tell you that sonically though, to be and somewhat to be argumentative because it's interesting. I'd tell you, I thought Stevie, in retrospect, learning more about music after becoming a fan of someone, was more of a Chicago Midwestern blues guitar player than he was a Texas guitar player.
Right.
Yeah.
He had a Texas drawl when he spoke.
Right, but his influences.
Freddie King and Al.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well said.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, that's, in fact, when he went to go play on the Let's Dance record for David Bowie, and he met Nile Rodgers. And he started playing. Nile Rodgers was offended because he thought Stevie Ray Vaughan was trying to play to what he thought a black producer would be into, which was Freddie King, Albert Collins, Buddy Guy, B.B. King, and then Nile Rodgers had to take a step back when he realized that's actually how he sounds.
Right.
So he didn't, you know, while he's from Texas, I think those licks and that whole thing come from further up the Mississippi.
Yeah.
But I think that it started changing a little bit, because you had like I said, ZZ Top changed, you had Stevie Ray Vaughan, Georgia Satellites. But what bands were coming out of Florida? I should have,
In the
didn't
80s.
Warrant come out of Florida or somewhere down there? I can't remember. Warrant. I don't know. I have to
The
look
Bee
that
Gees
up.
came out of Florida in '79.
Yeah.
78. They Criteria Studio down in Miami. But there's
You had a big metal scene in Florida though in the late '80s.
Yeah.
Bands like Death, during the death metal and the hardcore metal,
right,
which was like the next thing after the thrash metal because back in like '88, '89, back in that era.
Yeah.
So, but it was more at that point. It was kind of underground, but it definitely has its audience. There's no question,
Yeah.
Oh, I
Florida.
still haven't figured out who I'm thinking of from Georgia.
Oh.
And I guess if you're talking East Coast, you got to throw out like '70s and '80s, like Bruce Springsteen
Right.
from Jersey.
Yeah.
George Thorogood.
Everybody,
By
the
Way
George
Destroyed.
Thorogood. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people from Jersey or Philly or definitely into the whole Springsteen thing.
I just think about the magazines. Rick and I, well, you were at the NAMM show too, but we didn't know each other. I couldn't believe it. So they had, you remember that when you're going up into the place,
Yeah.
they had
all the racks.
all those
The
racks of
magazines,
magazines. So we
yeah.
grabbed one of every magazine.
Yep.
And that
we did.
stuff was heavy and 10
It was
minutes.
like,
Yeah, right.
they were
That
this,
many.
I had all those in a carry-on bag because I was afraid I was going to lose my luggage. It was the first time I ever flew.
Right.
Man, things must have weighed 100 pounds.
And now you just scan a QR code with your phone.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
It was so hilarious because I had I had the bag with all my stuff piled into it, and it was hard as a rock because it was just packed in there. And then we get to Texas, and it was crazy because you know how long Dallas Fort Worth Airport
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
And Rick and I get in
We
there.
were
and
there,
they
right?
dropped us off at one end,
Yeah.
and then our connecting flight was
Oh,
all the
man.
way at the
What a
other
nightmare.
end. So
I
we're
still remember that.
lugging that heavy bag.
Yep.
I mean, it must have weighed 100 pounds with all the magazines in it. And
CrossFit before there was CrossFit,
Oh,
you
my
know.
gosh.
You got to walk all the way across the airport and bring like 100 pounds worth of magazines.
There was a time when
you know.
DFW was they would go between that and Chicago for the busiest airports.
oh my gosh.
No.
That was good. Wearing my my black sweatpants and black T-shirt. That's what we wore.
Yeah, right.
White tennis shoes, black sweatpants, black
That's the
T-shirt.
day off uniform.
That's right.
Yeah,
Long
right.
hair.
Yep. Rock and roll.
That's right.
It's
Rock and roll. It's
baby.
rock and roll.
Late '80s Living Color out of New York.
Yeah,
Living
that's right.
Color.
Living Color. They were great.
Still great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are. I love listening to their stuff. They
Psychedelic Furs
Psychedelic Furs,
out of New
yeah.
York.
yeah.
Some of that counter, Where was Susie and the Banshees from? Wasn't she East Coast?
I think so.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that was East Coast. as
Yeah.
well.
That's more the stuff I'm thinking of from in Georgia, not one of the more mainstream bands. And that's my
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of that kind of stuff that wound up on 120 Minutes was East Coast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was an MTV show on Sundays.
Yep, I remember
10
that. More like the alternative based rock,
Yeah.
yeah. But the tail end of the 80s, everybody says 90s, but we're those at the tail end. You did have Nirvana's first album. So that was like the tail end of the 80s, and that's obviously the Seattle West
And
Coast
Smashing
kinda,
Pumpkins,
and Smashing
but that's
Pumpkins.
Right,
yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Their first was
So
called
the
Gish, I think.
It is, right. So you definitely get the whole alternative and the heavier alternative rock,
Right.
which kind of led into obviously into grunge, and that was really happening there in the tail end of the 80s. I think Soundgarden also.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah.
Well, that's it. I guess that wraps up
Yeah.
this episode of
50.
Rock Talk. 50 episodes.
Yeah,
Man,
middle 80s, 50.
50 episodes.
50.
Man, it's almost catching up to our ages.
Yeah.
I think it passed us all at 30, didn't it?
Hey,
We're all 29.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Remember,
the ticket.
age is only a number when you play rock and roll.
Right.
And Keith Richards told that to Abe Lincoln, so just keep that in mind.
that's
Yeah,
right.
it's
That's
great
right.
advice.
Good old honest Dave.
Yeah, right.
So where are you guys playing out this weekend?
Where you at, Rick?
I have a Saturday show, two of them actually in the same day. So the 18th of October, it's a Saturday. In the morning, 11 o'clock, it's Cactus Jack at Bowling Green Harvest Festival, Mainstream, beautiful Bowling Green, Virginia, from 11 to like 3, I believe. And then we're going to tear down the equipment and drive real quickly out into Orange County, Virginia, and we're playing a private party that evening out in Orange. So we actually
Orange
have 2
is beautiful.
shows. It is. So somebody on the east side of Virginia with Bowling Green and the west side with Orange, Virginia with the Cactus Jack. band.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I'm in Virginia Beach on Friday, I guess the 17th, tomorrow.
Yeah.
With my rock band, cover band, Damn Straight. I just get to play guitar in that band, so it's a lot of fun. And then Saturday, private or open, but kind of in the know. The Worley annual farm party is at Chuck Worley at Worley's Home Services, and he's got a big giant farm, and Mark Dunban goes out there and cranks it, and
Cool.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, my phone just went off. And
I heard some sounds
So
there.
that's when it gives me the Doug and was it Doug and Bob and Kansas?
Doug, yeah, right.
That means I sold something on Reverb.
All right.
So obviously,
Take off, eh?
That's
Don't
right.
be a
I'll
hoser, eh? Hey, don't
I'll
be a hoser.
boxing stuff up like I was
Yeah.
this weekend.
All right.
And we
Mighty
ship
fine,
stuff
eh?
all over the country. So yeah.
Evidently, that's going to Canada.
I don't know.
Yeah, right,
I
Canadian,
shipped to Canada, but shipped a guitar to Texas this week, and one went somewhere. I think one went to up in the Northeast. One went to Texas, and shipped a Tom down to Virginia Beach. So
A Tom, why didn't he just catch an Uber?
yeah. So I got a couple Toms
There
there.
you go.
So,
See,
yeah, so we ship stuff all over the country.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll be doing. Doing
Cool.
stuff like that.
Sounds like fun.
That's it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode, and don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, tell a friend, share it, comment, and if we left somebody out, let's hear about it in the comments.
Yeah.
We like to hear. I like to read the comments.
Eddie Money. I left Eddie Money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is he New York or San Francisco?
No, he was a New Yorker originally.
Yeah.
But he also
Yeah.
played in a
But
band with John Cunaberry.
That's right. And that is true too. So he kind
He
of
was a cop in New York City.
he was
Oh,
a cop.
wow.
That is
Wow.
correct. Yeah, Eddie Money.
That's
yeah.
it.
He had 2 tickets to Paradise.
2 tickets
Not just
to
one,
Paradise. That's right.
but 2.
Just like Ronnie said.
That's it. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
This has been an episode of Volume 11 Rock Talk Podcast, brought to you by Volume 11 Music.